I'm Neha Wahi. Most of you would probably be knowing me because of the various IQMs that we have done in the past. This was a event that we were enjoying in physical body, where we were meeting quarterly. There were 4 IQMs that were done in a year, and we were inviting school leaders, edu leaders to come and join us on thought-provoking ideas and idea sharing. But thanks to COVID, I think we are meeting a little more often, so I have nothing to complain about. We have converted the IQM leadership into a web series now, and the web series happens every month. And I must tell you that the topic that we've come up with today is a topic that has been given by the audience which attended the last IQM in April. So very proactively, we ask you for recommendations as to what you would want us to speak upon, what we should present, and then very diligently we get together, our work together to get you one of the best people, the experts, as you can see, on these particular topics, and that's how we present the whole thing to you. As I must share that as the leader of the IQM series, there is also a little logo to the left of the slide that you can see, which is the Career Launcher Education Foundation, popularly known as CLEF AP. Under the CLEF AP, we endeavor to educate the less privileged, the less equipped schools, and about 1.7 lakh children under the Delhi state government have been onboarded by Career Launcher, and they're doing their education seamlessly, their classes seamlessly with us. So as we always promise, is Career Launcher education uninterrupted, and all of you contribute as school leaders, as educationists and academicians in this beautiful idea, the new heroes without the capes. I'm sure each one of you. This is how we are, moving under the aegis of the CLEF Foundation. I'd also like to mention that while we work into CLEF and we do these various activities of educating all these children that we spoke about, we realize that it is not just about doing classes. It is about a lot of innovation. It is about invention. It is about curriculum design, teacher training, upgrading educators as online educators. So there's a lot that's going into this. We have an academic advisory council of 50 eminent educationists from all over the globe who have joined us to give us the right wisdom, the guidance that we can use to implement the activities under CLEF. And right now, as Career Launcher, IQM and CLEF have come together so that we can contribute and share this knowledge as much as possible with each one of you. So post this session, I would request you all to please do drop in, your wish or your desire to do more. What would you want us to bring to you next? Please do mention. We will also be circulating a feedback form, which is a very short feedback, won't take more than a minute. I know it is something that nobody likes doing, but I sincerely request for all the hard work that we put in, please take a minute to fill this up, because it will not only just give us the guidance as to what we should bring to you next, it would also tell us if you would want to be one of our panelists in the coming times, what are the topics that you'd like us to bring to you, and if you are the right person for that topic. So it's a very holistic form that we request you to fill. And as promised, without waiting for another minute, I'm going to announce the IQM web series May edition open. And with this, I call upon our first speaker with a little introduction, of course. We have Kuhu Ganguly ma'am, a very beautiful, graceful, inside-out educationist here with us, with experience from Springdale's GD Goenka, and presently she's heading the pre-primary department of Alcon Public. She has written articles for various magazines, and she also has an entrepreneurial venture called Aprenons. Ma'am, we'd love you to tell us more on it if we do allow you a quick 1 minute between your presentation. Okay. For today, her topic is creative curriculum design. And as we understand, this is the need of the hour. I mean, we still are being able to engage the senior lot, but a lot of queries and questions come to us as to how to engage the junior lot productively. So we have the junior, wing heads, we have the middle school heads today, and we have the senior people who are going to, throw some light on this. So Kuhu ma'am, we'll request you to please take this on from here and enlighten us.
Thank you so much, Neha, for that very impressive introduction. And since time is a constraint, I would like to start right away. I begin my presentation with a quote by Albert Einstein, which says, "Learning to enjoy and enjoy to learn." I firmly believe this should be the guiding principle for each and every teacher who wishes to engage her students in a creative manner. Now, today we are talking about engaging little minds during COVID-19. So when I talk about a young mind, I'm primarily talking about a pre-primary child in the age group of 3 to 5. And there are many tools to engage them constructively. My co-panelists are going to talk about it in detail. I'm going to focus upon one major tool which I think is most effective. It is the creative curriculum. So curriculum, we all know, it is a set of subjects which are designed to be taught over a period of time to achieve the learning goals. Now, when you design this curriculum as per your requirement, you have designed a creative curriculum. Now, let's look at the components of a creative curriculum with respect to COVID-19 situation. Next slide, please. Neha, next slide. Okay. Now, when we look at the components, the first is addressing the need of the child. Please remember, a pre-primary child is active, curious, wants to explore the surrounding and many more things. And he wants to have fun. So keep all these points in mind while you are designing a curriculum. Again, play is a very important mode of learning for young children. So have lots of options for children to learn through play. Next is creating a responsive environment. Studies have shown us that children learn by doing. So experiential learning should be your prime focus. Realistic lesson plan. If I give you an example, you were taking a class in a single classroom. That class is diversified into 30 different venues now, and each venue has its own limitation. So when you are planning a curriculum, keep those things like those in mind. Partnership between stakeholders. Well, we all know parents and teachers are the two strong pillars, and the child is balanced between them. And nobody can outpace each other because that is not a desirable situation. The child gets into a stressful position. So this partnership is ever more relevant in today's time. Nurture this relationship to work it out. Emotional quotient, another very, very important aspect while you design a curriculum. And please accept that changes in future are going to be more sudden, more aggressive, and more frequent. And innovation will be the key that will help you survive in such a situation. Now, next slide, I would like to talk about certain other points also that would be relevant while you design a curriculum. First, social emotional learning, SEL. You may all be very familiar with this word. It is very prevalent these days because it is the necessary thing for today's requirement. Now, social emotional learning is a life skill that teaches a child to effectively and appropriately respond or control the emotions. It also teaches the child to express his emotions. It helps the child to understand what others are feeling and fosters a feeling of empathy in them. And this skill should find priority over any other skill in today's time. Once children have mastered this skill, all other skills will be easy to follow. So just concentrate on this skill in today's concept. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now, as I said, that studies have proved that children learn by doing. So experiential learning should be the focus when you're planning your curriculum. And when we talk about experiential learning, we focus upon 4 points. I'm going to discuss these 4 points in detail with example. Now, the first point that you should keep in mind is plan a curriculum with stories, rhymes, activities, and games. Yes, you have been doing it all. You have been walking like an elephant in your class. You have been squeaking like a mouse. But the moment you go on a virtual platform, you are inhibited by the fact that you are being watched by so many other people. The adults also, the parents are there to watch you. And that definitely subdues your approach. My suggestion is forget everything. Just remember that you are doing this for your love for the children. You are doing this because you're passionate about your profession. And just go out and please roll those eyes. Please make that lion roar. Please jump up from the bed and please do everything possible silly. Rest assured, you will earn the respect of the parent community. The other very important aspect is make your lessons informal, activity oriented, and full of fun. Now, let me give you an example. You want your children to revise sight words. Ask the parents to play a treasure hunt game. Tell them to make small cards of sight words. Hide them at interesting places around the house. Let the child search for these cards. The moment child traces one card, reads it aloud. Your revision of sight words is done in a fun way. Allow kids to experiment, explore, and derive conclusion. You are teaching them summer season. You are talking about the heat, the sun being a big gas ball of heat. Now let them do Very simple experiment. Let them collect certain articles from the house, put them on a tray, feel the heat, put it outside in the sun for an hour or so, go back, touch those articles again. And what do you find? The temperature has changed. Let the child derive to conclusion how that happened. Another point that I want to stress upon here is that usually we find science labs for senior children. On the contrary, it is very important to have a science lab for very young children, as young as nursery. It is very important to inculcate scientific temperament at such an age. So think about that and create a lab, science lab for your children at school. Another point, provide opportunity to seek, think, imagine, and discover. Give them activities which lets them help in household chores. Let them explore the kitchen. Let them learn about the masalas in the kitchen. Let them sow those methi dana, the coriander seed. Let them collect the lemon seed, the mango kernel. Ask them to sow these seeds and watch the plant grow. It is a learning worthwhile. The experience will go a long way. Next slide, please. Now here I'm sharing with you some of the examples of how we remodeled our lesson plan during COVID-19. So if I talk about color recognition, when we were doing a revision of red color, we asked them to play a scavenger hunt game. We asked them go to the kitchen, pick up something red in color, go to the cupboard, pick out something that you can wear red in color, a red book, a red toy, and revision done. Ice cream day is one of the most exciting activity for summer season project. So we usually take them to an ice cream plant or call a vendor and they enjoy the ice cream. This year we were thinking how to go about it. So we taught them to make ice lollies of their own. Trust me, they had a blast. And 18th May, we celebrated International Museum Day. So we recorded a video by a teacher who explained the concept of a museum in simple words. We made them watch Peppa Pig series, visit to the museum, and we extended the activity to summer project. We asked them to create a home museum, explore the house for things that they feel should be preserved in the museum and tell us why they feel so. We also shared the links for our virtual visit to some of the finest museum in the world. And we also asked the parents to watch movie a night in the museum. So all of it was a project work, but there's so much to learn about. So think about project learning for these children. At the end, I would like to, next slide, please. At the end, do not forget to support your colleagues sharing lessons or technical know-how. This is the time, important word is hand-holding. We need to support each other. And use the support online materials available. Be a smart teacher. There's so much available online. Jack Hartman makes such lovely videos for English lesson. Use them liberally. Your life will be easier. A request to school leaders, please strengthen school's IT department and equip them with professional video making programs. Please empower your teacher with technical know-how because that is a challenge they are facing. They are skilled teachers. They have all the skills. That's a technological know-how that they are facing. And if we empower that, rest will follow. And last but not the least, befriend technology. My dear friends, technology is your best friend right now. So embrace it, explore it. There's so much to offer. If you go ahead, you will find that your lesson becomes so much more interesting and your lesson planning will be so much more easier. I'll give an example. A few days back, a friend suggested me mysimpleshow.com. It is a fantastic app to make learning videos. And there are so many more. Just explore them and just see the fun. Next slide. Next slide, please. At the end, I would like to say we are all in this together. So just keep up your faith high and continue to persevere. And lastly, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Guhu ma'am. I am sure they must, I mean, had you been live in physical, we could have at least heard the applaud. And I'm sure everybody is smiling. And I love the part where you said, just go all out, jump from the bed, squeal. I'm going to do that. I'm just, I just love the thought. And also when you say we are all in this together, what more proof? I must tell you all that today, I mean, as I speak, I can see that the numbers have touched 300. We started with about 171. I must tell you that we have people right from Jammu and Kashmir to Kodaikanal. I don't know, with whatever internet facilities that people may have, east, west, south, I think we have educators from all over joining this panel. So this is the belief that we have in the system. This is the belief that we have in each other in education today, which is so heartwarming. So thank you so much for those little tips. And with this, I'd invite Sumita ma'am to come up. And yes, I'd also request everybody to please keep noting their question. Everybody, please keep noting your questions, because towards the end, we are going to have a question and answer round for you. And with this, I'll request the next speaker, Sumita ma'am, to take over. Before that, anybody who'd like to reach Kuhu ma'am, these are her coordinates, and you could please take them down, or probably click the window. And please feel free to get in touch with our experts for any information that you may need in the future. Okay, so we have some lovely faces for sure today. I mean, apart from all the expertise that we've got, I love the smile there. And Sumita ma'am, I must tell you that I always associate you with your smile. That's how I remember you in my memory. So we wish you good luck, that you always, preserve this beautiful smile. An innovative educationist with over 26 years of experience in this field. She passionately has worked with the early childhood segment, and has been the territory head Delhi of the Early Childhood Association as well. A lot of work that we see there on the slide. I've actually had to scrunch the slides because these experts have done such beautiful work that I didn't know what to put on the slides and what to remove. But ma'am has also written and published a paper, and we've written the details there for all of you to follow. In case this interests you, you must please catch all that work that they've done and read this up. Sumita ma'am, I welcome you, and I have been warned to mention, so I must mention here that my daughter is a part of your school, and I'm a proud parent of Shivnadhan, and I must mention here that a special welcome from her as well, because I was told, and like I said, warned, that you better mention this, on the webinar when you do it today, that you have somebody of my own here. We are all my own though, but this one's come from my daughter, especially for you. So we welcome you here, and as you speak today on PEP and parent partnerships, I hand over the dais to you. Please take it over.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you to your daughter as well. It really means a lot when our children are there with us. So thank you for welcoming me, and a very good afternoon to everyone here. I really liked when Kuhu was sharing how to plan the lesson plans, and thank you a lot. What I have to talk about, I don't have to go into the details of that. So thank you for that as well. So today I'm going to be touching upon how we at Shivnadhan School designed the personalized education plan for each child, which is not possible without understanding that parents are our true partners in the learning journey of each child, and especially keeping in mind the current situation. And when we talk about the current situation, it is certainly difficult for everyone, for teachers, for children, for us, for parents, for everybody. And when we're talking about parents, parenting, I think, is one of that factor where nobody taught us how to be a parent. We had to learn how to be a good parent on our own through our experiences, and which was certainly not not easy. And parenting certainly is becoming tougher by the day, because the current situation is adding to the stress levels for both parents and children, even at the age of 3 to 8, the early years as well. These children are also under stress, and most affected are these little children. But how? Next slide, please. But why? Why are they affected? Next slide, thank you. The social organization and the social experiences the parents and the children were so used to has suddenly been taken away from them. The schools, the parks, the meetings, meeting their friends and families, what they were so used to is not there anymore. Rather, we are not even sending our children to these places. And we all know that through these experiences, the child's physical, social, emotional development happens. So we have taken that away. That is why these children at this age are most affected. Now, we at Shivnadhan School started pondering over this, that what should we do about it? And we thought that providing opportunities for seamless learning in the child's current physical space is what we can look at. But how? So we thought we should provide hands-on experiential learning to each child in their learning space, which is the home, by giving experiences of connecting with self, with nature, with family, like who just shared that you can do a lot of go to the kitchen. You can look at maybe if you have a garden, you can also take care of a garden, or in the kitchen you can just explore and make certain things for your own, like lollies you can make, ice lollies you can make on your own. So those are the kind of tasks we started giving to our children. Those projects we started giving to our children, involving parents and the entire family as well. It's very important for all of us to also understand that if we want our learners to be empathetic citizens, we need to provide these experiences now to our children for two major reasons. Why? One is that this situation has brought everything in front of us, that how important it is for us to nurture the nature and people. And second, very important aspect is that we all know that whatever skills we are going to be bringing to our learners at this age group will last a lifetime for them. I very strongly also believe that every situation has something good hidden in it. And this situation, the COVID-19, gave us a lot of opportunities as well. Opportunities to develop our skills, our competencies, and connect with the parent community at a very deeper level. Next slide, please. Parents, next slide, please. Yeah. Parents are as equal partners in the learning journey of our children, and especially in the child's development. That is something which is very important for us to understand. And when we talk of today's situation, the common link between the child and the school and the teacher is the parent. Because if we look at the physical space when the child was there, in front of the teacher in the school, the teacher was able to build that connect with the child. She was able to look at the child and observe and change her her thoughts and whatever she has to bring to the child, keeping in mind her learner. What are the best things what the child is learning through? She could do that in the physical space, but now we have brought the child and the teacher in a space where there is a thin wall of the screen in front of the child and the teacher. So that physical connect and that emotional connect is becoming difficult. And this is now possible only because the parent who is physically present in front of the child. So it's very important for us to empower the parent and also understand that empowering the parent is as equal as empowering the journey of teaching and learning for each child. So that's very important. And parent, as I said, is the person who's delivering to our child. We are going through the parent to the child. So it's very important for us to realize that factor and cater to that and empower the parent as well. Next slide, please. I'm sure, next slide, Kuhu. Sorry, next slide, Neha. Thank you. So previously, yeah, thank you. So we all know and understand that positive collaboration between the parents, the teacher, and the school can flourish the child's learning journey. And research has also proven that any child's learning journey where a parent is also very fully involved in it has a positive impact on the pro-social behavior of the child and the academic success of the child. And we are very proud of the fact that that as a school, we always had a transparent relationship with our parent, and we wanted to strengthen that. And thank you, Neha, for also telling that in the beginning, that as parents, you're also very, as a parent, you're also very proud to be a part of our school. So thank you. Yes, we do have a very good relationship with our parents. But this situation brought us an opportunity to go to a deeper level with respect to that connect with the parent. Next slide, please. Now, when we are looking at the parent and the child, it is very important to look at the child as a whole and as an individual as well, to scaffold the learning to a next level for the child. Now for that, in the physical space, we do it in a very different manner. But in the digital space, we were thinking about it, and certainly we were very we were very lucky, and we were as we all keep on recording a lot of learning journeys of our children. So we had the readiness level of our children, keeping in mind the developmental levels, which we know that every child, every learner has different learning needs. So keeping that in mind, we started making the personalized education plan for each child, and to give the experiences where what a learner can do and with help, or what the learner can't do without help. So that's the personalized education plan what we started creating. And the objective of the personalized education plan is certainly, next slide please, is certainly with one motto in mind, that no child left behind, whether it is a fee paying child or a non fee paying child, or a child with different needs. We need to cater to each and every child which is coming in our fold. And it's very important for us to also understand that the child's social emotional needs need to be addressed first, because that's very important. And for that, what we also did was, the ongoing curriculum, we tweaked it, and we created tasks where our children were first, they started sharing their feelings. So to give an example, my feeling chart is something what we did, where the teacher on the synchronous class during this through this platform, when she was conducting, she created a chart, and each child was sharing their feelings, which we also did on one-on-one sessions. And then the child also took that learning to the family, where the family also started sharing their feelings. And we saw the bond with the family also grew stronger. And when we did the one-on-one session with the child, we also connected with the parent again, to understand that how the child is taking to this learning. Because every child is different, and a particular child might be able to take to this platform beautifully, but one could not. So we had to tweak it to a particular child's level as well. And scaffolding the learning of each child at his or her pace was very easy for us through this platform, because this was a medium where we were actually going into the child's house. We were going in the child's comfort zone, where the child was, one, sitting with his parent, and second, the child did not have that anxiety of oh, what my other friends are doing, or why am I being taken out of the class, or if I'm going to be sharing something, everyone is going to be looking at me, whether I'm going to be sharing, what I'm going to be sharing is going to be right or not. So those anxieties were not there in a child. And what we saw, that some children who were not very vocal in a physical space, or even in the digital space as well, in a bigger cohort, they were very comfortable in the one-on-one session, and they opened up to a very deeper level. And it was a wonderful learning which was happening through that one-on-one session, what we were doing. And we started doing a lot of focused learning sessions for our children as well, keeping in mind the differential learning plans. These are the things what we keep in mind when we are doing the personalized education plans. We also challenge each learner and bring learning to each child, keeping in mind the learning style of each learner. We all know the way we do it in the physical space is very different, but it was certainly a challenge. But how we brought it out, what I think, if you all can go back to what Kuhu was sharing, we did a lot of tweaking in our lesson plan, and incorporated a lot of different learning styles through drama, music, art, pottery, movement. All of that brought a lot of life for the child at his level. So we cater to each child at their personal level as well. And certainly we had to empower our facilitators to modify the teaching and learning plans as per the holistic need of each child, and share the strategies with the parent to scaffold the same learning at home for each child. And And we grouped our children, keeping in mind their readiness level. So that's how we tried to reach to each and every child's level of learning. But we had a lot of challenges as well. Next slide, please. It was certainly not very easy. And yeah, so developing a common understanding with the parents, community, on the impact of the personal, social, and emotional development, which is so very important, especially in this age group and in these times, and the physical development, which is very, very important. So these were the challenges for us to make the parent understand that how important this is, because parents generally go back to that kind of a learning where we said, all right, you can sit and write A to Z, you can sit and write numbers like that, or you learn this particular thing and tell me. So the parent is coming from a very different mindset. So it's very important for us to it was very important for us to make the parent understand that how important personal, social, emotional development is for a child. And understanding the emotional needs of the parent was also very important for us. Helping the parent to overcome their anxieties, as it directly impacts the learning of the emotional and personal development of the learner, which we all know, and I'm sure we will agree to that. Having a common understanding with parents on curriculum, with respect to skill developed curriculum focused on skill development rather than content development. So that was also another challenge. And empowering parents to understand the importance of joyful learning experience. So these were a few challenges what we had, and what did we do about it? Next slide, please. So what did we do about it? We connected with parents and to understand them, understand their anxieties, to understand the learner and his personal and social emotional needs. We did a lot of one-on-one session. As leaders, we did small group sessions, big group sessions. Our teachers did a lot of meet and talks, and reassuring the parent community that we are together in this. Like you also heard when who also said that this is a situation where we are all together in this. It's not that it's come first time for me and the other person is experienced in this. Everyone is at the same level in this experience, in these times. And to take our parents together in this journey, we did a lot of group discussions with them, webinars we did with them. We also did counseling sessions. We called experts like Dr. Ravindran, and we did a lot of counseling sessions with our parents as well, helping the parents to deal with their anxiety and also the child's anxiety, because it's very important to understand that if a parent is anxious, it will certainly have a cascading effect on the child as well. So collaborating with the parent in creating a conducive learning environment at home, which is most important in the teaching learning process of the child. Now, since the learning is happening from home, it was very important for us to do that. What we also did, we invited the parents to be partner in the execution of the lesson. So if the teacher is showing something and the parent comes in, becoming a part of that entire lesson. We also celebrated Mother's Day through this platform, where the teacher, the parent, and the child did a lot of wonderful things together. So for the child, it was not a disconnect from the home and the school. The child understood that this is a beautiful collaboration. So the learning was happening beautifully well. I can't see my presentation, but I will go on. Developing a common understanding on skill-based, I can't see my presentation, Neha. So for example, we also, our children started creating journals where they were recording their observations, and started analyzing and recording their experiences. So the parent understood that how important skill development is rather than just content development. So 3 C's is also another very important aspect to the child. So that's the partnership what we created, and we felt that that really worked well for us. And we did a lot of teacher training sessions as well, adapting to new strategies, teaching learning process to develop our skills and competencies, to provide enriching experiential environment to our children. I know that Neha has just given me 10 minutes to finish all of this. We did a lot. This is just a little part of what I could share in just 10 minutes. I'm sure I have overshot the time, but I would just like to say, if we keep learning as teachers and as adults in the child's life, if we keep learning, our children will love to learn. Thank you very much. Thank you, Neha. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope that we've all gained a lot. And yes, what you spoke about was actually something which is very, very important. And it's very scary for most of us as parents, because suddenly there is so much of ownership, so much of responsibility with all the hard work that the schools are doing. I think the ownership comes back to the parent to now help deliver and ensure that the child is in sync. So I think everything that you've said has been very important and very relevant to what we are discussing today. I see a lot of comments that have come in. I'd like you to see them once you're done and even reply to a few. And yes, we have overshot the time a bit. So I'm quickly going to request Usha ma'am to, I'm so sorry. We'll call Sudha ma'am. Ma'am, let me please introduce you here. Please give me a second to go back to the slides, and I'd like to introduce you in a moment, please.
Maybe I'll take that minute of the change, that what Neha was saying is so very important. Now the parent has to take care of the school, of not the school, of his work and household, and also learn how the school is imparting knowledge. So it is a tough job for parents.
Absolutely, ma'am. Here I have your details up for everybody who'd like to get in touch with you, because after Kuhu ma'am's talk, we had a lot of requests for her email ID. If you miss out on anything towards the end, we'll love to share that information again. So with not another second to lose, I would now call upon uh, Sudha ma'am, somebody that I personally greatly look up to. And I'm going to give out a little secret here, Sudha ma'am, without your permission. I must tell you all that I often speak with her, and in emergency, and when I'm totally confused and I don't know what to do next, she is my one-stop, person where I would immediately call and say, "Ma'am, what do I do with this?" And this lady has actually been surviving on a black coffee shot because she has no time for her breakfast and her meals. So I'm going to give out the secret, because this is the amount of amazing work that she puts in every time, and especially in these difficult times, and the way that she has been working relentlessly, not for her students, her school, but for educators all around. Because as you can see, she heads the National Committee of Inclusive Education, and has also been the secretary for National Progressive School Conferences, as well as the Sahodaya group of schools. She's been leading the Southwest Delhi chapter. Probably the number of collaterals that I receive with Sudha ma'am's picture on, those, I was wondering if I'm even going to get a small window free for one of the IQMs. We are so obliged to have you. And I know that every bit that you're going to share here, ma'am, like all the other beautiful speakers who contributed to the theme, there's going to be a lot of learning that's going to come out. We greatly, immensely look forward to what you're going to share with us. And I'm going to start playing your slides. Sudha ma'am, you'll have to unmute yourself, please. We can't hear you.
A very good afternoon and namaskar to all of you. I will concentrate on the grade 6 to 12, how we can engage these active little young minds. So my approach will be integrated learning approach. Before that, I must tell you that the research has shown that if students do not consider any activity relevant to them, and then their engagement level will be significantly lower. It should relate to their daily life as well as curriculum. Relating children's studies to their personal interest is a proven way of engaging students as well as making them happier. So my focus is on happiness curriculum, or a happy teacher makes a happy classroom. I'll focus on that. Everyone has their preferred intelligence. Like Sonia or Kuhu, they also said that happiness quotient is very important for our social, emotional well-being of our children and for our teachers also. So everyone has their preferred intelligence. A child can be body smart, can be word smart, can be self smart or nature smart. And all of us as educator also, we have our preferred intelligence. So we try to learn in that preferred intelligence way. So why not for our children? So creating a schedule which allows for a variety of activities, including sports, music, theater, drama, group work, etc., which will strengthen their key skills. Don't focus on academic value or result, but their curiosity, passion, desire to learn. So before I come to my presentation, again, I'll reinforce that when we actively engage young minds, we must focus on meaningfulness of that activity, relevance, interest, and passion, provide chance to collaborate and have fun, sharing decision-making power, and participatory design or co-design, co-author, co-writing, that is very, very important. So integrated learning approach has actually explores and uses information appropriately and effectively much beyond classroom boundary. So when I come to my presentation, I have started with happiness classroom. You can create or add any number of hexagons to your own diagram. So these are different ways. Neha, next slide, please. Neha, next slide. Yeah. Happy classroom, creating a happy classroom with a higher happiness quotient can be a reality. Most of us, like government's initiation, also Delhi government, they have started with happiness curriculum. In CBSE, we have started with happy classroom with a happy teacher. So if a teacher's happiness quotient is high, then a joyful environment can be created in the class. Next slide, Neha. This is one mood meter activity I wanted to share with all of you, which we are doing in 2019 itself. We started with here, children are very tech savvy. They now text you in the form of emojis. They don't like to write sentences or words. So what we have used is that these emojis on the chart paper, these are created, these are in packets. When a child enters the class, name is written in a star with an ice cream stick. So the child identifies or labels his or her emotion, take that and put it in that particular packet. Even the teacher labels or identifies that her or his emotion. Some days we can be happy, elated, sad, or sleepy, sick, excited, anything, feeling low or anxious, any emotion. So when everybody has done that, then the class dynamics, how is the class today? How many children are happy? How many children are sad? How many children are not in a mood to learn? We can decide and then go ahead. Then the teacher knows, like Kuhu and Sonia also reinforced on that. We have a format called Know Your Child. Like in banks, they have Know Your Customer. We have developed that Know Your Child format. So every child, the teacher knows every child's strength and weakness. And here cognitive ability or academics is not the focus. It is social emotional intelligence and what are the strength of the child. We can nurture that. What are the weakness we will not identify, we will work on it. So this KYC format will tell you that whether the child likes to sit aloof, doesn't share tiffin with others, or likes music very much, likes games and sports, or a leadership qualities there reflected, participates in all activities, or remain aloof. So these are few characteristics and the skills which try to identify. And this format goes on right from nursery to class 12. So we can see the growth pattern of a child through this KYC format. Neha, next slide, please. Next slide, please. My focus will be on experiential learning. In class 6, I'm showing here one activity. These are body movements. So these are the props or these are the resources a child can use. Next slide, Neha. Next slide. See, how is this experience? Previous slide, please. Yes. How the child has applied this knowledge and see the hand and the hand movement exactly. Is this experiential learning? Of course it is. So using that knowledge and then applying, creating something. So converging, diverging ideas, conceptualizing and learning by doing. This is lifelong learning. Next slide, Neha. So this is how a traditional classroom looks like, and this is our experiential learning where it takes place, the classroom where each and every child actively participates, and their need is taken care. While we talk about transaction delivery, nowadays we are talking about universal design of learning, we are talking about community-based approach of teaching or differentiated learning, because we have our classroom is very, very diverse. We have a lot of special need children in our class. We have gifted children, those who are exceptionally bright, and we have so-called labeled below average or average children. But we have to cater to each child. We have to believe that each child can learn and thrive if comforting, caring, and compassionate or empathetic environment is given to the child. Next slide, Neha. Next slide. Okay, so here I'm showing that what are the basic components of experiential learning. I can give you one example and then explain you. Nowadays, because of lockdown, we are not going for visits like biodiversity park or to RBI or to industry or to museums. We are not physically not able to visit them, but virtual tour can take place. So we have taken our children on a virtual tour for different museums and Globe Theatre, all those things. So when the children visits and the child experiences, watches, feels, and then reflect. Whatever we are experiencing, watching, feeling, we can reflect upon those observations, and then conceptualization takes place. And from the conceptualization, the child applies the knowledge, synthesizes, analyzes, and then creates or evaluates, and then active experimentation, trying out what the child has learned. So this is the basic components of experiential learning. Next slide, Neha. So why experiential learning and what are the benefits of experiential learning? It builds competencies, merging theory with practice. Learning by experience far more effective than traditional learning. It is long lasting and offers opportunities to students to think freely, operate differently without losing their confidence, and builds ground for self-motivation and exploration. Next slide, Neha. Here, some of the example I have given. Class 9th, I suppose there is a chapter called Poverty as a Challenge. How we are giving experiential learning through different kind of experiences. We divide the class into different groups and tell them who are the people who are helping you, who are cleaning your car, who are cleaning your school corridor, who are domestic help. So different kind of people, those who are working. And then a concrete experience, students will be asked to conduct a preliminary survey. So next is diverging and feeling and then reflecting on their observation that what are the causes, why the income is so low, or why there is poverty. Instead of going straight to the textbook that what is the definition of poverty, what are the causes of poverty, here they are doing involve themselves, actively engaged, and they themselves are reflecting what may be the causes of poverty. Is it that they are not they do not have access to any property, they are marginalized workers, landless workers, or gainfully not employed, or maybe size of family is very large, or illiteracy, anything can be one of the reason. So they are pointing out this reason and then conceptualizing. Student always tabulated the data. Now they understand how to present their facts, whatever they have collected, through a pie diagram, through a graph, through anything, any mode they can present. So they learn the skill of presenting, documenting, recording the evidence, and then converging, think, and then do active experimentation. Identify the causes of poverty and suggested measures on the basis of the stories discussed by them or the case studies. Conduct a Nukkad Natak or flash mob or a skit highlighting the vicious circle of poverty, which was actually their chapter. So this is how experiential learning takes place in a class if we actively engage them. Next slide, Neha. Next slide. Yeah, this is another mensuration, volume of cylinder and cone. One of my girl, Neha, has seen that video, that a child making cone and cylinder cut out of chart paper, and she's trying to prove the theorem. Student will make a cone and cylinder of the same height and diameter using paper cutting, and fill the cone with either sand or salt or rice or any grain which is available at home. And then they are reflecting upon their observation that what is the student will realize that it takes 3 times cone to fill a cylinder. Hence, the volume of cylinder is 3 times volume of cone. So this is, they are experimenting with the little props which are available at home, paper, any grain, salt, sand, rice, anything. So whatever is taught to them in the class, how they are experimenting with the knowledge, and then active experimentation, student will prepare a new solid using combination of 2 cylinder and cone, and then find its volume. That is how the knowledge is applied. I'll tell you, during this COVID-19, my children, they have come up with a drone, a surveillance system. And just day before yesterday, my class 11th and 12th science department, they came up with 6 startup projects. 6 startup projects which are environment friendly and taking care of marketing, sales promotion, strategies, how business can be sustainable. All these aspects have been taken care. And in the evening 8 to 10, all of us, we witnessed those 6 startup projects and given them how it can be upscaled, how it can be reskilled and sustainable. Or during these days also, what we are doing, like international dance day, so children collaborated on a single piece of music. They came up with a beautiful dance. Or storytelling, we are creating happy family circle time also, giving them situation, giving them one line, create your family story and come back to us. Or cooking without fire, another experiential learning. I think Sonia or Kuhu ma'am, I think she was telling that giving 6, 7, 8 children to plan a menu for your family lunch or dinner, keeping the ingredients available at home, keeping the nutritional value and economical menu. So here the child has to think while shopping for grocery, whether it is white or brown, whether it what is the nutritional quotient, or whether it is economical or not, price comparison, and healthy, whether it is falling in the junk food or healthy nutritional food. So all these things the child has to menu, and the child gets a decision making power that I am deciding the menu today, and taking care of everybody's liking, disliking and taste of the family. This is how actively we can engage the whole family. So experiential learning is the buzzword now. We can actively engage, apply the knowledge, the peripheral knowledge, and it should be related to their daily life. Next slide, Neha. Next slide. Neha, I would request for the next slide. Yeah. So next is joyful classroom environment. We have already discussed about that. So I have found out 8 joys or find the pleasure in the learning, music and rhythm. Music therapy is gaining momentum. How through music we can create an active, joyful learning environment, and it is very, very beneficial for our special need children. Music therapy, and give students choice, more options. Like I said, co-designing, co-authoring, the co-styling, like that. And let students create things, show off student work, appreciate, recognize, identify their work. Towards holistic learning, get outside, much beyond the classroom. I believe that anywhere learning environment can be created. It can be in the canteen, it can be on the playground or in a room, anywhere. We can learn something from each other and read good books. So these are few suggestions I can give you to create a joyful classroom environment. Next slide, Neha. Next slide. Okay, these are few things, list of activities. I mean, fun with words, sabda, like we play Antakshari, we can play Antakshari with words also, with name of states also, capital of countries also. I mean, sky is the imagination limit there. You can do anything there. Puzzles, riddles, gift of gab, or let's find and analyze. There are different activities how we can create joyful learning environment. Next slide, please. Next slide, Neha. Okay, the next, the recent initiative of CBSE, I would say that integrated learning or interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach to learning. And greatly, we are integrating art. Art has been integrated into maths, into business studies, into accountancy, into economics, everywhere. So art integrated learning. Here, I have given you some example, fractal. It is how it is used and how the activity is done by the students and knowledge is applied. Next slide, Neha. Few examples and classroom activities I have shown. Neha, next slide. See, these are the structures where we can finally see the art integration. When children, they visit to Humayun Tomb or Taj Mahal, they can see maths there. Those cement patterns or structures there, what kind of maths or the concepts of maths are there. Once I was teaching economics because that is my subject. So the children were not in a mood to learn, but I had a test next week. So I had to recapitulate and take the feedback how much they have understood. So what I did, I started a game saying that, okay, let us identify in the Bollywood music what kind of concepts, economic concepts have been used. And I just did a little gender reversal that girls will find out the concept and boys will come and sing. Why girls will sing always. So you won't believe there were 12 songs they could identify, boys, and then girls identified the concepts, and they went much beyond what I taught to them. Similarly, I can, if I have to do globalization or local market, district market, national market, and international market, I can play a simulation game with my class 11 and 12. Just by distributing them 4 to 5 objects and say that, what is your satisfaction score in 1 to 10? Maybe I have got 10 objects I do not like at all. Then I give them opportunity to trade in with your partner. And then with 4 people, then with 6 people, then the whole class is the market. This is how I can give the concept of local, national, district, or international market concept. So my classroom is my mini India. This is how actively we can engage our children in the class, and they can, and which is related to their daily life, so that when they go out beyond the classroom, they can apply their knowledge, and and they can create something original. So we are mostly now focusing on curiosity, passion. For that, actively we need to communicate with our children over communication. During COVID-19, I think we are doing one thing, that is over communication. And active communication channel is open with our parents, with our children, with our teachers. Every day we are communicating, so that we have a lot of choices. We can create something new. That is the focus. Next slide, Neha. Okay, that is what. So I will assimilate again. My focus is on integrated learning, encompassing in experiential, joyful, art integration, and sports and games, outdoor activities. Of course, now we are not able to do those, but we can. We are sending our children high intensity exercises, yoga, brain gymming, all these kind of activities, so that they remain actively engaged. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I just have one word here, and I'm sure everybody is going to totally agree with me, and that's wow. So I think there are 2 major things that I would like to say after hearing you. One, that I think inspirational leadership also leads to experiential learning. This is what I've realized listening to you. And the second and the most important is, we don't care about COVID. We don't care about things that happen, because it cannot cage our minds. It can cage our bodies. It cannot cage our imagination. It cannot cage our innovation, our zest, our zeal as educators, as leaders. It is so heartwarming and so exciting. You know, you bring back, all of you bring back the excitement today in these times, which were morose otherwise. There is so much happiness and excitement, I'm sure, that each one of us feel after listening to you. There is new hope that you bring to us. So thank you very much, Sudha ma'am. I think I can't recap.
Thank you so much.
because there is so much that everybody is loving, as you can see. I'd request that as the other speakers are taking on, the speakers who've already addressed the audience may please take the question and answers in the chat, because I can see a lot coming in for Kuhu ma'am, Sumita ma'am and Sudha ma'am. They're already filled in. So while I take the opportunity to bring upon our next speaker, who's another veteran, rather I should call her a wizard, not a veteran. So Sonia ma'am, we welcome you all the way from Sanskar School, Bhopal. And so as you can see, I don't know how much I can read, because she is certified for the Scratch and the MIT app. She's a Google certified digital citizenship facilitator. She's also a Microsoft certified educator expert. I can't even pronounce half the things in her profile, but all I know is that she's doing some extremely encouraging and inspiring work for 22 years now. A lot of awards her way, a lot of recognition her way. And a reason for having her as one of our panelists is one request that has been common time and again whenever we do our IQMs: please give us the tools. So I must tell you that she will be sharing a lot of links with us. They may not be clickable in this virtual space, so we will be posting them on the chat window for all of you to copy, paste and save. Otherwise, you could even click the screen as I've shared before. Please take a screenshot of the slide so you can use all these tools that she will be talking about. So Sonia ma'am, we welcome you, and I hope that you're here with us.
Yeah, thank you, Neha, for that humble introduction. A very warm good afternoon to everyone in the room. I think the previous speakers have made my work much easier. Kuhu ma'am talking about making technology your friend. Sumita ma'am giving focus on skill-based learning. And then Sudha ma'am talking about providing opportunities and giving exposure. That were the three key takeaways which I wanted to give the audience, and you all have made my work easier, I should say. So Neha, we can directly move on to the next slide, because this takeaway has already been reinforced by the previous speakers. So as in this situation where a lot of responsibility have come up on we educators to engage young minds, and furthermore in the time to come, as we are hearing that government is gradually opening the lockdown, the working parents will start to step out of houses, and then our young minds will be at home, and then the responsibility of the school increases much more to partnership with parents in engaging these young minds, because parents will not be there. Some of them will step out of the houses. So instead of providing just 2 hour or 3 hour of live class, we have a much more responsibility beyond the school hours also for our learners, how they are engaged at home. So I'm going to talk about certain tools which will help us creatively engaging the kids, which we educators as parents can use for our kids, can propose it to our parents for our students. So the idea is, the key idea on the screen is to enhance skills. So we have to provide them what is available to give them exposure. So every child is different. Every child must not be interested in coding. There are some very creative minds. So there are some girls, those who write beautiful, books, poems. So maybe to those kids, we have to give a skill of blog writing. There are some beautiful, artists in us. So we have to give them a platform where they can showcase their artwork. So we have to bring in all kind of tools so that we can cater to the need of all kind of learners. Some of our boys will be very good with hand-on robotics or hand-on mechanical work. So those parents can buy do-yourself kits. So we can propose all these to them, and we'll see through that through the flow of the presentation. But the focus is to create opportunities, provide them exposure, help them enhance their skill, help them acquire new knowledge, create and innovate for themselves. Focus should be on problem solving, fostering creativity, and let them compete in a healthy environment. Now, talking about the role of technology, the first point, creating self-oriented learning environment. I'm sure many in this room must be hearing Dr. Sugata Mitra. He's doing various, webinars on soul. It is a beautiful concept, which I must insist that every school should leverage. This is the time when the soul has an important role to play. I've been asking my teachers, what is the fuss about online teaching? Why you people get so much, conscious about it. So you have this, your kids are much smarter than them. Leverage that aspect. Do flip teaching. Just prepare a PDF, give them a brief that this is what I want from you in tomorrow's class, divide them into group, tell them the skills of screen sharing and how, that your IT department can do by taking a workshop. Help them set up common Google Docs, help them set up common, PowerPoints online where they can collaborate. Assign them work rather than taking everything on your shoulder. I think the class 5 to 12 onwards, major responsibility can be given to children also. Make them partner. They are free minds. Engage them productively. So your problem, half of the problem of educators and half of the problem of the parent will be solved when your kids are actively and engagingly doing something collaboratively. That will be a very beautiful scene that for tomorrow's class, children are, collaborating at home on TeamViewer or on a Common Docs and making PPT. And in next class, teacher is just doing the value addition and they have done the all research by themselves and they are presenting. But here a word of caution that, internet is a super highway of information. Do not leave them unguided. Give them clear guidelines. Give them some good resources where they can go and find out information about the topic that you have given. So flip teaching is something which I would strongly recommend. And that is the whole thing about self-oriented learning environment. Help them enhance their IT skills because they are, after all, digital citizens. And I'm sure that, they are much more smarter than us. A little more orientation and handholding will help them take longer way. Learning from a wider community. We as teachers should be a part of various global community. There are various Facebook groups. There is a popular group about social emotional learning. There is a group about, remote learning. There is a group about technology for educators. So if our educators join those Facebook groups, learn the best practices, and there are similar group for K-12 students also. So we get to know about all this when we ourselves are on such discussion forum on those platforms. We can help our children collaborate for global projects with global audience. So that is learning from a wider community, accessing best of the resources. Nowadays, Coursera, edXL, Swayam, many portals are giving a lot of free courses, which can be certainly recommended to grade 10, 11, and 12. Even our educators can do that. So educators can do a research, what is best of the resources available. They can tell their children that during these lockdown, along with school study, you have an opportunity to earn certification also. Like I as computer teacher have told my children that ICSE 9th, 11th, 12th curriculum gives you an opportunity to learn Java, and that is the syllabus for Microsoft Technology Associate Java examination. Why don't you parallelly give that exam and get yourself certified? You are free now. That certification will add to your college admission to your profile. So these are the kind of things which we can talk to them. And certainly it will help them to take their creativity and innovation to the next level. Next slide, Neha. Now, as I said that technology has a wider role to play. Now, how can we create certain opportunity? Now, this slide I've prepared keeping in mind the need of all kind of learners. Maybe a class 12th child is not interested in making a game on Minecraft, but a class 4 child will be very much interested. Class 6 child will be very much interested. So in the slides to come, we will see that how through gamified learning, we in our school have made learning more meaningful and engaging. So gamification of learning is one very good aspect. Some of the children, they always want to play game. So we came across this request from parents that can school do something about it, because during the lockdown, the middle and the senior school is so much on PUBG. Can we do something about it? So what we did, there was a group of passionate Minecraft players. So I took them on board with me. We created some examples, and then the summer homework which went to them was the topic you have to present it in the form of a game. Now the kind of entries that we are getting for that homework, a child is creating a game in Scratch, which is of a biology lesson about balanced diet. So there is a game character who goes to a market and pick up different components for his daily diet, and then it calculates, is it the calorie requirement for this particular child sufficient for this person, sufficient for a day, or is it less, or is it more? That chapter has been replicated in Scratch game. So suppose there was a child who was continuously doing English articles wrong, and but was very good in Minecraft. So teacher told him, make a lesson on Minecraft where you put down all the rules of articles on the slates and let your NPCs and robots read that out. So in that process, that child went through all the rules by himself. So these are the kind of opportunities which can be leveraged in the classroom. We should give opportunities to students to empower their voices. I'm sure most of the schools will be using this Flipgrid activity. Flipgrid is a very important tool which helps you to take care of SEL needs of your learners, because it helps you to, give them a chance to speak their heart out. This tool allows a person to record a video of maximum 1 minute 30 seconds. So we did competitions like extempore, how I'm feeling during lockdown, my lockdown new skill. So we did it with the children using Flipgrid, and the results were amazing. Provide task-oriented projects so that they are productively engaged. Create opportunities for collaboration and communication within the class group. Next slide, Neha, please. So now I'm going to tell you about certain platforms. So if the kids are interested into, learning coding. So coding is nowadays, computers is not about, just computing. It's about living. So all the children must have computational thinking. So if you want to give them some good platform where they can do self-paced coding, Progate, Code.org, Khan Academy, these are some good platforms, and they all offer an hour of code. So an hour of code can be created, monitored by school. So school can create an hour of code, send the link to all the kids to join. So they will productively do an hour of code, and at the end they will get certification and their achievement level. So this can be well monitored by school authorities, and we can, once a week, we can engage them in an hour of code activity. Next slide, please, Neha. There are some beautiful tools which gives users the experience of AR, VR, and 3D. So children are very fascinated about the word of 3D and AR and VR. So these are some tools: 3dbear.io, Paint 3D, and Spark Adobe gives you that opportunity to create infographics with 3D characters. And your, suppose a teacher wants to do, let's say, a composition which is picture composition. Now teacher wants to give some 3D angle to a particular space. So she can create an infographics, or she may ask children to express their visit to a particular place in 3D or their feelings. So these kind of tools can be leveraged. So 3D Bear is a beautiful tool for that. Neha, next slide, please. Further, next, please. Yeah, so I was talking about gamification of learning. So Game Salad, Minecraft, and Scratch are these 3 tools which can be easily leveraged to engage the learners from grade 3 to grade 10, and they all enjoy it. Next slide, Neha. MIT App Inventor is a beautiful and free tool. So I want to emphasize on that. Whatever tools I am showing here, they all are free tools. They can be leveraged by the school without any investment. However, there are more tools which are available, but I have purposely picked up so that if anyone is interested, without a second thought, they can utilize these tools. So MIT App Inventor is also one of the free tool, and very easy, since it is this particular tool, App Inventor and Scratch is by MIT. They have beautiful self-paced tutorial for educators and for learners on YouTube, and anyone can learn them in an hour or so. So you can assign them work for app development, which can say, for example, a history teacher can say that, I want you to do an app development where I want, maybe it's not an interactive app, a static app, which should have 4 buttons on your screen: Africa, Australia, Asia, things like that. Now, wherever the person clicks on that continent, your app should show the geographical location, the popular rivers, the popular mountains. So you can do interdisciplinary learning, and the child is again productively engaged. See, whatever we say, that you may tell me that, these kind of activities may increase screen time. But as I said, that during lockdown, now parents, once they go, step out of house, children are by default going to be hooked to screens unless they have grandparents or some adult at home to monitor them. So if they are hooked to screen, why not engage them productively by giving them some constructive work? Next slide, Neha. As I already talked about Flipgrid, so Flipgrid is a beautiful tool to empower student voices. Next slide. So there are ample of opportunities available for students to take certification examination from home, even during lockdown. So I'm a Wakelet educator ambassador, and I'm also a trainer for Microsoft Office. So later on, if you need any help, I can connect you with the right persons, those who can help your children to take these exams from school. So Wakelet Student Ambassador is a beautiful program. It gives the child 6 tasks to complete, which take care of 6 C's: creativity, communication, collaboration. So every task is based on a C. So the child does that task, submitted on the portal, the teacher verifies it, and once he completes his 6 tasks, he gets a certificate of Wakelet Student Ambassador certification. So he gets a nice t-shirt, he gets a nice badge that he has now become a Wakelet Student Ambassador. And these MOS Office special examination even help children for university admissions abroad, those who are especially in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and it also helps them enhance their skill in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Next slide, Neha. So these are some examples of student work. I will not take much time, as I know we are running out of time. Neha can post these links in the chat window, but this is one example which I definitely want to talk about. So because we have printed a book out of this activity, which is original thinking book. So on Flipgrid, one of the language teachers, she started a challenge, story building challenge. So she gave a plot and she randomly passed it to one child of the class. Now build onto the story. You have 1 minute, 30 seconds. Let me see what you can do. So the child built it on and passed it to the next child in the class randomly. Then the challenge was passed to 30 children from one child to another child. They gave a limit of 30 students. And at the end, we came out with a beautiful book of 22 pages of original story. That story took, a lot of turns and around. Initially, people thought it is a suspense-based story, and then later it came up as a comic story. So when I read it, I myself was amazed that with what thought we started this, and the children were amazing. So here we have documented the full story in a Google Doc, and the children videos are in Flipgrid. So anyone who is interested can see how this project was carried out. Next slide, Neha. So this is, as ma'am was talking about, their children made drone. Our children also did some similar work. So they also made some drone-based activity to collect garbage without giving a touch, maintaining the norms of social distancing. Next slide, Neha. So I told children that you are at home. So every class was given this task where 4 tech-savvy children were picked up. They made Kaun Banega Crorepati sort of quiz, and they made it for rest of the class, and we did it as a Saturday activity. And it was great fun. They were given different subjects. So students did it for other students. Next example, please. So as I was talking about Minecraft, so students made different lessons. They can be checked. They are history lessons, and articles, English lesson, and a lesson on economy, the impact of luxury life and Indian economy. Next slide, Neha. So this is like a video which can be shown. So this teacher who wanted the children to do creative writing, she said either you can make a video or you can do a piece of creative writing. So it was, if you get superpower on your birthday. So this child made a video on his birthday. He said, if I was given the superpower on my birthday, so I will sit and I will have a robot who will arrange all my party. So this is a heavy video, maybe playing here will cause a technical glitch. So he was showing that at a click of a button, I got my cake. Then half of the audience wanted vanilla, so it was changed. So things like that he did. So that was done using mixed reality effects. Next slide, Neha. So we also made sustainable city models and a chapter on academic integrity in Minecraft. Next slide, Neha. So these are some of the tools which can be leveraged in the classroom. Nearpod.com is a beautiful tool which I'm sure everyone should try, because in an interactive lesson, what a teacher is looking for, to give an opportunity to the child to take a quick quiz, maybe through a poll, show thumbs up or something, maybe a mind map or a Kahoot quiz, or some sort of animation. So Nearpod gives you all in one. It's an all-in-one package. So all the tools which are given below, they all are a part of Nearpod. So Nearpod is a very powerful tool. Then for formative assessment, there are tools for student feedback, for submission of work, for recording lessons, for attendance recording, for mind mapping and concept map. So I've given this slide, you can click the pictures, and these kind of tools can be leveraged in the classroom. So if you need any specific handholding with any of these tools, you can write to me or you can reach out to me. If I'm free, I would be happy to assist your staff with these tools, or I can, deploy a technical person to help you out. Thank you, Neha. I think my screen disappeared and I get a signal that my time is over. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Not at all, ma'am. The most important slide we've got up, that is of your details, because I know everybody wants it now. And I must tell you that as you were reading out your slides, we were displaying the links for everybody to copy and paste. So all the links have been provided of all the different sites that you mentioned, the certifications that you mentioned, and also of the videos that you have shared. So it's for everybody to read. There are a lot of questions that have come for you. Teachers want to know what kind of certifications can they do. The primary school teachers want to know what for the little ones. So please keep answering as we roll this to Usha ma'am now, who has been patiently waiting for a really long time. Usha ma'am, a very, very warm welcome to you. And I'm just quickly check your settings once for your audio before we introduce you here. Just give me a moment, please. Okay, great. Usha ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay. So a very warm welcome to you once again. And she's a very, very experienced person that we have amongst us today. And I must tell you all that 40 years into education, this has been her journey, a beautiful journey from setting up schools, like you can read here that we've mentioned for you, Vasant Valley, founder, primary head, principal pathways, Emirates International, Dubai. A lot of beautiful work has come through ma'am. A very, very passionate educationist. She dreams to, come up with a, ma'am, if I may again spill the beans here, come up with certain teacher certification programs that can be, friendly for all teachers, important for all teachers to utilize. So a lot of work happening at her end. But today we've requested her to do the power of play and storytelling, because I felt that when we speak about engaging with little minds, I think this is a very important tool that we can't forego, despite the fact that we've touched upon every different important aspect today through this webinar. But I think this is something that we really can't miss. So Usha ma'am, over to you. After a phenomenal session from Sonia ma'am, I give this over to you to please take on from here.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's not always the best to speak at the end, because you've got a lot of inputs by absolutely wonderful teachers in service, practicing and sharing with you what we could do. My major focus today is going to be not just on play and storytelling, but basically mental health, because it's not just a question for the parents or teachers or students, it's for everybody. COVID-19 is not a situation that anybody saw or anybody thought about. It's not, if we go into history, the only experience we can draw out, if at all, is during the 1918 epidemic. But that too doesn't stand really, experientially, we are deprived. Now, what happens to children? Do they look at COVID-19 the way we are looking at it? How are they looking at a situation where we've suddenly, all of a sudden it happened. We said, look, no school, sit at home. What is it that their mindsets would be going through? To me, I think it is that it is a golden opportunity. And I see that through the previous conversations where teachers and parents have come together on one platform to give their children a good, not education, but a good mental growth. So what is it when we talk about mental growth? Definitely one thing I can't underestimate or overemphasize on is role modeling. If a parent, because It's not the same as being in a classroom. That's for certain. And I'm sure teachers and parents realize that. So if parents, who are the prime givers of education today, are going to be watching horrible news 10 times a day and get tensed, they're going to role model tension. So we need to role model equanimity and balance. For children, the biggest issue is that they've come into an unknown area. Children love familiarity. They gain a lot of confidence out of knowing. And that is why there are routines set in every school and hopefully every home. So I would suggest start even now, setting routines in your home, collaborating with your children. I loved what Sonia said. You need to empower children. It's not about empowering you and me or the parents or the teachers. Empower the child. Get him into understanding. Draw out 2 big circles. Have 2 boxes. Put aside that what is it that we know we can do? What is it that we are not sure about? And you will see what we can do is still much more than what we can't do or what we are not sure about. So let the children start thinking like that, that, okay, there's no point not telling them the truth. Tell them, I'm sorry, I don't know this. When do I go to school? I don't know. When can I meet my friend? I'm sorry, darling, I wish I knew. It's perfectly fine to tell them that. But let them also see there is so much that you know. You know you're going to get your next meal. You've been planning it with me. You know there's going to be a story time at the end of the day. You know once in a week you're going to be talking to your friends. Once in a week you're going to be talking to your aunties. Once in a week you're going to be talking to your grandparents. Something for them to look forward to. Give them the confidence of a structure, which is what they need. It's a great time to make them independent. Can I have a change of slide? It's a great time to make them independent. What I'm going to do now is read out a story to you. It's not something which teachers don't do. I've just picked up a story to reestablish how worried children get. So it's not just for children, it's for you. So let me see how we move ahead with this story. So can we start with page? We don't really need. Okay, worries aren't always the same. They are different. A great starter for you to start conversation to children with, I'm worried about this. So worries are not something which is only for the children. It's also for adults, for them. It's for everyone, right? But sometimes an event turns the whole world upside down. And we are all into it together now. And everybody worries and they wear a long frown because we're all worried. We are worried, are we going to get well soon? Is there enough medicine for everybody? Worrying is very normal because you think. When you think, you worry. So much has changed for you. You have no more schools, you can't go to a toy shop, your ice cream is no, because perhaps COVID can be transferred through cold food, cafe. Sorry, we can't be. It's about distances. Lot for you to talk and lot for children to talk to you about. It's okay to worry when things are not the same. It's perfectly fine when sometimes we all have to go to the hospital and things change. They are not what we think it's going to be like. Things do change. What happens when we worry? Our head might really hurt us. Our heartbeat might get very quickly. And the worries, they seem like a big wave that is coming all over me. I don't know if you can see my thumb. And it makes you feel very sick, very unhappy, very no, I have no strength. So what is it that I can do when I'm feeling like that? We can talk to one another. You can talk to your sister, your brother. your didis, your bhaiyas, your mom, your dad, we might all be feeling the same. But when we talk, we might feel better. Let's see. Let's draw our worries and give them a name. Great way. Let's give it a name. Let's take 3 breaths slow and deep. What are you doing? You're giving them strategies to cope with worries, with difficulties. Breathe in. Do it with them, teachers and parents. It's such a beautiful thing. If you breathe in, you get think time. So your worries just go away. Let's exercise. Let's eat well, because a healthy body makes a healthy mind. And let's get enough sleep. How much is enough sleep? Let's just find out from what the computer says. How much for whom is enough sleep? Let's speak to our family and friends on the phone. Not every day, because it takes away the joy of saying the same thing and again. So let's have time to prepare for our talk with our friends. Let's have time to prepare for our talk with our aunties. Let's have time to call up your ma'am one day. Let's paint beautiful rainbows, not on papers, but on our windowsills. Let everyone see them. Let's paint beautiful flowers on our balcony. The disadvantages, yes. Sharing our worries, does it make you feel any better? Try it out. And if it does, you know, whenever you're worried, you can always talk to mommy or to daddy or to your teachers or to your friend or to your little pillow. Everybody has a little pillow. Let him cuddle. Just talk to your pillow. You'll feel so much better. Give your feeling a name. Very important. And all this as you role play during your entire stay on COVID-19 lockdown period. If parents start doing this, children are great mimickers. They will not mimic worries, but they will mimic your feelings. They will mimic your composure. They will mimic your balance. They will mimic, yes, mommy understands it's a hard time for us. Or dad understands, my teacher understands it's a hard time for me. She's not saying get out of this hard time. She knows it's hard time. And she's saying, well, I'm sorry, I'm with you with here, but I don't know how long it is going to be. But let's see, how can we make it easier? It's okay. And this is not the last time we're going to be worried. We don't know how many more worries are going to come our way, but we are going to make ourselves strong, healthy, and wise to keep ourselves intact. Now that's a story that I picked up to share, because this also leads into easy, comfortable mental growth. Again, you're giving suggestions. We can overcome anything as long as we are together in it. So people matter. Things and times don't. They just go away, right? So much of value education can come in through this and you don't need to give it to them. Let them give it to you, because then it's their ownership. Can I go on to the next slide, please? Otherwise, I'll run out of time. Right. Now, if I have a suggestion for all who are hearing, if you can get your children excited about COVID-19 lockdown, you won the battle. If you can get them to say, hey, you know something? When you become a grandmother, you have so many stories to share with your grandchildren and their friends. Probably you'll be invited by schools to share it with them. Why don't we make our own collection of all the hard times, all the difficult times, all the work that we do during COVID-19? Make a movie, make a big box, make a trunk full. Let children draw, let them write poems, let them do pictures. And this is true from pre-nursery, or I would say even from age 2 to age 16. The standards will change. And as a family, parents, you also do it. You say, we are all into this together. So we are all going to make this lovely story that we are going to share with people whenever we meet, or with you're going to share with your grandchildren when I am no more. This is what we did in COVID-19. It is not, we all understand, and very aptly put by all the educators, create a happy learning environment. You
So, as Usha Mohammed said, some disadvantages of coming in last. I think we've lost her somewhere in between, which is very sad. I would really want her to come back and conclude this. Usha ma'am, you can try switching off the video. We'll still be able to hear you through audio. If you could try doing that, please, or a re-login would also help. All right. While we wait for Usha ma'am to resume, may I please request the other panelists to start taking questions, because we're already running past time and I can see a lot of questions. So somebody's asked us the name of the story that ma'am has been narrating. It's Everybody Worries by John Bergman. It's available online. We've pulled it down from there for ma'am. And such beautiful comments and feedback. I have been loving the fact that you've loved hearing all our panelists, and yes, we were expecting this to happen. Sudha ma'am, the first question we like to give to you, because that's what I can see on the screen, which is, can you please suggest some activities for accounts they want to know?
Okay. So for accounts, what our teachers have done, they have created a business environment there, opening portfolio investment, demat account, and lot of commerce department have come up with XBusiness, completely online activity involving other school children also. So if you want, I can give you the whole outline of accounts department activities. It is completely throughout the month of June, they are involved there. And one more thing I'll tell you, that we have a startup project in our school where we started with 3 products. Now from the scratch, we are producing 13 products, all organic products. Ingredients are ingrown. These are all organic herbal products. And these products are promoted, sold, priced, tagged, everything branded by the accounts department, commerce department, students and teachers together. So we have a subject called entrepreneurship. So I have real pragmatic application of the subject where the children are getting first-hand experience, how to sell their product, how to promote, what should be included in the price, how they can diversify their portfolio also. Just like I said that we started from 3, now we have gone up to 13, and we create a bazaar also, skill bazaar. We have made that practical for our parents to get involved also. So accounts department is thick and thin involved with practical solutions, how you will be dealing, maintaining balance sheet. Even for senior science students also, energy audit. You can do that of your school, how you can reduce your school's electricity bill and water bill, and how school's balance sheet can be really, what are the heads of expenditure, what is current expenditure, what is revenue expenditure, what are capital expenditure, when we collect fees or development funds, how these are allocated, can we give something from the developmental fund to another fund, is it allowed? So all these practical things are taught to accounts children, first-hand experience.
Excellent, ma'am. Thank you so much. Sumita ma'am, can you please answer this for us? They want to know what are the good books that we could recommend for junior school, preschool, some good authors and books that can be recommended, please.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there are many good books which are available, especially in the COVID time, where authors are also doing live story sessions as well for the children. So a lot of Katha, NBT, CBT books, you can go and find them online as well. Junior Donaldson is a very good author. I'm sure most of the parents and teachers know about them. A lot of international authors are also there. I would suggest that look at the level of your child, and then go and see the book and take that book to the child. So a lot of Katha, NBT, CBT, Tulika books are with Indian context. That helps the child to connect with the story. So that is something what you can look at, and all of them are available online, free of cost. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sonia, ma'am, this one's for you. Teachers want to know about some more online certifications. I'd suggest that you could probably reach out to her on mail, because I don't know how many would
I
she
have already pasted the link in the chat window for few certification programs. I have pasted 4 links in the chat window for
Excellent.
everybody to have
Each
it.
one of you could probably scroll up in your own space and time, and please copy these links. We've also provided you the email IDs of all the panelists for you to get in touch with them one-to-one. Kuhu ma'am, I'm not even risking asking you a question because every question has your name almost. I don't know, what has happened, but I don't know how many to capture and ask. But I've also seen that you've been continuously replying to most of these questions. And most certainly they do want to understand about a lot of virtual reality, online engagement, and like you said, online virtual tours, etc. I can see a lot of questions coming on that domain for you, if you'd like to say something.
Well, there were questions regarding this before also. So as I have shared with you, the museum day. So see, if you ask the children to go on a virtual trip right at the beginning, they're not prepared for this. You have to actually take some time to prepare them for this. For example, when we did the museum tour, so initially we did not take them to a virtual museum tour. We showed them something they relate to, the Peppa Pig episode. That was intentionally done because they relate to Peppa Pig cartoon. They will be eager to watch it. And once they have understood the concept, then go on a virtual trip. So exactly, you can go for virtual trip to, animal sanctuaries or garden when you're doing colors and all. But the point is that you have to prepare them beforehand. You just can't step into it.
So I think, ma'am, they're also asking questions like when they're trying to open up the virtual tours, they get something called a 360 video. They're not being able to get those links. So can you help them, please? How to?
Yes, I have shared the links with them. I've suggested a few links. I have shared it with them.
Neha, I just want to add on here. There is a portal called education.microsoft.com.
Usha ma'am is back.
Great, I noticed, ma'am.
There are virtual tours available which can be booked with the speaker. So there are slots given on education.microsoft.com. There are many virtual tours available which can be booked, and at the time of booking, if the speaker is approving of your request, the speaker will be available at that place to take you through the virtual tour.
Neha, can I just, can I just also address the same question regarding
please?
Yeah, regarding the virtual tours. So preparing children, especially the young children, it's very, very important. And the need has to come from the child to go and visit a museum. So a lot of storytelling sessions you can do. You can look online those stories where a child is visiting new places and gaining something new from that. And then a need for a virtual tool can be risen in the child, and then you can just take the
Hello.
Yeah.
Very true, ma'am.
Darling,
Totally
what you
agree.
you all have muted me from
Thank
the
you for explaining it so well.
All right, so here I am. I don't know what I was talking about last. I was talking about the importance of play. And I said that there are two kinds of play. One, there are only two kinds of play. One is child initiated or learner initiated, because play happens even with adults. And the other is initiated by the coach or by adults around children. Play is undoubtedly, in early learners, as far as possible, the role of play must be in the hands of children, because the basic ingredient for play continues to be joy, happiness, and that is different for every child. So when the child initiates his play, he wants to do certain things. When he's doing them, the teacher or the coach looks for places where they can create the focused learning that they are trying to achieve. It could be more, less, numbers, sounds, letters, phonics, whatever you have with the child. So fundamentally, if we look at all the early learner experts like Montessori, or these days we have Julia Gabriel, we have, who's this Italian? They're all talking about conversations. So it is about creating, even in your classrooms, at home, a little corner, which you call my work corner for the child. And the child must be allowed to revisit it. If he's started some play, if he started putting blocks together, there's a thinking that's going into it. And you upset it. So let the child know this is a place for you, where you can put in the way you want and save it for next day. Very important, so that he continues. During COVID-19, I thought play was the only way we could have used for teaching them whatever we wanted, because the mothers at home, the children, especially in our community, unfortunately, we believe in cognitive learning. We forget that learning happens with the whole body, and we need a Buddha to go back and learn about that. If so, experiential, because your whole body has to be involved in learning. And if a child cannot put on his own shoes and socks, how can we teach him how to write within a square? So can we get children to organize their cupboards during COVID-19 and show it off? Show it to your friends, places that you couldn't have come in and seen. So let the children know that on Saturday, when you're talking to your best friend, you're also going to zoom in and show them what a beautiful, neat cupboard space you have. What a lovely sandwich you made for me the other day. Of course, you are co-working with them. They're just too tiny. But if he's a grade 5 child, he can definitely make you a sandwich, right? So it goes into your memory boxes and into your memory talks with whoever he's made it for. So sharing things. Unfortunately, if I had to give a name, I would not have given it social distancing. I would probably have called it physical distancing, because we are physically away from one another. But socially, we can still connect. We can still connect, thanks to Sonia, who's shared so many sites with us. And again, you see, one thing that I see around me, mums getting hassled with this, पूरा दिन बच्चों से अपने दोस्तों से बात करना चाहते हैं. The point is, isn't that natural? So if you're going to resist it, you're into a game with them. But if you timetable it, you say, yes, every Tuesday, darling, you're looking forward. You want to talk to them Tuesday. What are you going to share with them? Where's your diary? What you're going to share with Cuckoo, your friend, not Cuckoo Ganguly, right? So put it there. Put it there. Let them look forward, because in looking forward, in anticipation lies a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. And they also feel that we are still in command, in touch with our things. So if you look at some of the pictures that I have put forward, these are all from our school, and things that we can, which we call play, is basically everything that is being shown here. We can do it at home. Instead of brick, you can give them one of those, your pots to do. Mummy's hair drying, right? Next slide, darling. Mummy's hair drying, right? So what a beautiful role play. So you don't need to role play. Help mommy dry her hair. That itself is such a learning. Run your fingers through your mom's hair. And as you run your fingers through her hair when you're drying, just empower them with everything that you're doing. And children anyway want to do what you're doing. And that is what upsets adults. Because when you're cooking, your child will come and say, but I want to run the ladle. Now, okay, give them another ladle and a pot. It's play. So give them play, and definitely in the evenings with them, exercise. And with all this, I'd say a very, very happy, a very comfortable, a very healthy, and a great learning time during COVID-19. I'm sorry, I had to cut in between. There are perils of technology, as there are perils of every facet in life.
As it is, ma'am, I think as Indians, perfection doesn't go down too well with us. We were nearing a quite perfect webinar before, with no glitch this time. So we've kept the thing going, and I'm so happy that you've come back actually and addressed this, because I got a series of messages saying, please get her back. We were loving it. So glad you've joined in back. And I'm so sorry, Sumita, ma'am, we in all that confusion cut you in between. Would you please like to, finish what you were saying? It was all
Yes,
very
and I
sudden.
would like to be a part of those question answers. I
Surely,
don't
ma'am,
know, because I'm feeling a little lost with the window gone.
Ma'am, it's all available on the chat. While I just close the session, you could take a
All
quick
right.
look at the chat window and even keep replying.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Neha. I was just saying that it's very important for a child to have the need to go for a virtual tour. So for that, when we are building the exposure for the child, we can pick up a lot of stories where the child, where the story is actually taking the child to different places. Maybe it's a visit to the zoo or visit to a different, a friend's house. What are the new things you see over there? So we need to create those experiences for a child where the child is actually wanting to go and see a museum. And we can ask, do you know what a museum is? Would you like to go and see what exactly is available in a museum? And then maybe we can create that want and then take the child there. And if I may also take another question which was there and I just kind of answered about writing. Somebody was saying that should we not look at writing at this stage? I feel, especially, I'm sure all the panelists and everyone will also agree to that, that we should first look at developing the skills of writing. And we all know that actually pencil grip, the way you hold our pencil or a pen, develops at the age of 5.5, not before that. So I don't think we should start pushing our children to start writing. That's not what will stay with them, but what they think critically will always stay with the child. Thank you.
Wonderfully put, ma'am. Usha, ma'am, there is a question for you. They want to know how they can do phonics at home, especially with parents.
You see, there are beautiful sites on phonics. I'll be happy to share some of those sites with you all. But if you get into Google and you type out phonic program, Jolly phonic learning schemes, you will get a lot. They're all on, they are all free at the moment. And the way to go ahead with phonics really is about getting them to learn words. If they can't say table, there's no point saying ta-ta-ta-ta table. So they've got to learn to initiate the first sound, to be able to tell you that this is the first sound, this is the last sound, and then the middle sound. And that is how a child learns phonics. So whatever words, your own name, what is the first sound of Usha? I know my granddaughter wrote it with double O, but what was wrong with it? Because she said O and A, and there was a sh there. So phonics is about sounds. Phonics means sound, and it means training the ear. So there are lots and lots. It's a whole, I would say, regime of learning for early learners. It wouldn't be possible to teach you how to do it, but I would, if you connect with me, I can give you certain links if you don't get it on your own. There are lots of links on phonics. But it is about initial, whatever you're doing with your children. Come along, I've brought a bread. So what's the first sound of bread? It's not b. What's the first sound? It's br. So let them get the sound, br. So is it a single letter sound or is it a So even for your grade 2s and 3s, when they're not getting their spellings right, you need to work with their ear. That's what parents, teachers know that.
I would just want to add here, it's not about phonetics, it's about reading correct. So there is an immersive reader app, which is with Microsoft Edge, OneNote and Word. So if immersive reader is used and the text which child has to be read is up there, and if you allow immersive reader to read, the child can get back that what is the correct way of reading it.
Right. So there is again, if you get onto the Google and you type out early learners readers online free, you will get them. There are lots of readers there, right? And some of them they even give you the accent, because I went into a home where a child was speaking British English, and Even the mother had never been to London. So I asked her, how did she pick up the accent? So she said, because she's been listening to and so she got that accent. So yes, technology is something that I really would push very hard. And I would push all teachers and parents to understand that that technology and this experience that you've had in COVID-19 of teaching online is going to you will have to redo your entire thinking of how to plan your lessons or how to teach, because this is to stay. COVID-19 is not there to stay, but online learning is there to stay. So I was so happy to hear you, Sonia, talk about flipped classrooms, because these are done things abroad now. But I'm not saying there are lots of things which we do very well here, we don't do it abroad, but there is online learning is there to stay for all of us. So let's use it.
Wonderful. I somehow don't really feel like winding this up, because I'm getting so much of information here and so many of questions non-stop on the chat window. But what I'd probably suggest as I said, as the leader of IQM, what I can think quickly is, please allow me to send a mail to each one of you with a packaged link of the webinar that we've done today. I'll send you the YouTube link so you can go through this over again, and you could always share it with the other people that you feel have missed this. So thank you so much. I'm sure all my panelists are reading what we've written. So this is, the chat that's, being sent out. I'd request all the panelists to please take a look at it, because it is beautiful. It is heartwarming to see how much they've loved each word that you've spoken and the contributions that you've made today. I'm also, in the end, leaving my email ID for you to please reach out to us and tell us, what more we can do and how you've liked being here. I'm Neha Wahi at Career Launcher, neha.wahi@careerlauncher.com. I'm the Assistant Vice President of the company, and we are the second generation budding little leaders, learning from our grand educators, who are holding our hand and teaching us all this great work that we do under CLEF, that I'd like to mention once again. Himani, my co-moderator here, I think we've forgotten to post in the link for the feedback. Could you please share the Google form very quickly?
Parents are asking for me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Everybody, there's a link there. We would really request you to please fill this up for us. Yes, I can see Karnataka, and I can see Mumbai, and I can see Pune. Educators from all over, we are acknowledging all that you're sending. Yes, Himani, please keep reposting the link for them to follow. Please do fill this up. A heartfelt gratitude to each panel member today. Thank you so much. I just knew that you were going to create magic. I am not surprised at what happened today. And after holding so many IQMs and doing this one, I don't want to sound a sexist, but I think women just know magic. So thank you so much, each one of you. It has been so to the point, so relevant, and I'm so happy to hear all the comments, to read all the comments, and I hope that very soon the COVID times end and we can all physically meet, embrace and celebrate these moments. This is the first time that I've actually seen somebody write on the chat window, can we make a WhatsApp group? Because everybody has a personal space and everybody runs away from WhatsApp groups. So you can imagine how much everybody has loved interacting with you, that they're actually asking for a WhatsApp group. I'm not too sure I'd follow this for everybody's privacy, but yes, we will surely send you the links. Please keep an eye on the YouTube as well for all the past work that we've done and the ones that we post in the future. Himani, if you could please also leave a little link on the leadership series that has happened, so everybody can follow what the IQM leadership series is, because a lot of questions have come to me on that as well. Thank you, everyone. I'm not going to hold you for longer. I know our tummies are rumbling already. Mine is with excitement. I have to share it back with the senior management here that we've created magic, I said once again. So a deep-rooted thank you to each one of you for attending, the panelists for addressing, and from the entire family of Career Launcher, we will continue to do good work with your blessings and wishes and come back to you the very next month with what you've asked us for. So we wish you good luck, safety, good health, and a lot of warm wishes. Thank you, everyone.
So much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. It's been lovely, Neha.
Thank you.
Despite the hitch, it's been lovely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the takeaways are precious. Thank you so much, everyone.
And lovely girls, you all were so precise and detailed. Sonia, it was such a pleasure.
Thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
so
Thank you
excited.
for your kind words.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thank you so much.